welcome to another installment of WGS-TV right here on YouTube.com/WrestleGamer and ZFX-TV. I'm the WrestleGamer, Double B Billy Woodrow, being joined by our resident music mogul himself from YouTube.com/Lance Moss TV. He is the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, how you doing?
I'm doing alright. Thanks for having me.
Well, guys and gals, we're going to be taking a look at the War Games. WCW War Games, WCW's most notorious matches, DVD and Blu Ray set. And, from what I remember back in the past, Lance, about WCW is one of their most synonymous matches was War Games.
Oh, yes, it was. And honestly, wouldn't mind seeing the company that now owns the catalog uh, doing some sort of a version of said match. But we know he might. Who knows? Let's hope.
Well, yeah. Now, on to the actual content of this DVD set. Now, most people would think that there would be a documentary about how the concept for war games came about, and talk to some of the guys who actually participated in the matches for war games throughout the years. But we don't have that. What we have,
No,
what we have here, Lance, is we do have Dusty Rhodes. He is hosting it, right?
that's the Rhodes, baby. The American Dream.
Yep.
But yeah, it's basically him talking a little bit. Want to talk about said match? They show the match. Talk about said match. They show the match. It's one of them.
So basically, yeah, he sets up each one of the matches. Now they have a great match listing. There's a lot of good stuff on the DVD set, including the very first War Games. With the Road Warriors, Dusty Rhodes, Nikita Koloff, and Paul Ellering taking on basically the four Horsemen with Lex Luger, Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, and J.J. Dillon. My only issue is, J.J. Dillon is technically a manager, and they have him wrestling in
Yeah.
in this set, and that was just something I never really understood. I mean, what was the point of putting tights on your manager and having him wrestle when he's not really a trained wrestler? But there were
Well, about that, I think back then, it's like people want to see guys like JJ, Jimmy Hart, Bobby Heenan get beat up,
well, yeah, you do
and this
have.
is one of those times who could do that.
Now, one thing I didn't really understand. Now, I can understand the usage of it because it's technically as a steel cage like it would be in war games, but they included a Tower of Doom match. Now, I watched a lot of stuff on WWE Classics involving NWA and WCW, and I've always heard them talk about the Tower of Doom match. I've never really witnessed one myself until this DVD set, and it is a unique concept in itself. But does it really belong on a well, you know what? Since they call it WCW's most notorious matches, and the title of it is War Games, but you got to include Tower of Doom as one of the most notorious matches in
Yeah.
WCW. For those who've been wondering, the Tower of Doom match is the Road Warriors, Dr. Death, Steve Williams, Rugged Ronnie Garvin, Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin, taking on Kevin Sullivan, Mike Rotunda, Al Perez, the Russian Assassin, and Ivan Koloff, and that took place at the Great American Bash, July of 1988.
And let's face it, Dusty wasn't happy about that getting called a war game.
No, not really. But one thing he does reference, when they get into the 90s part of War Games, is for some reason he felt like the passion and the meaning behind the actual War Games concept was just kind of lost. Like they kind of
Mm-hmm.
lost the way of what it was supposed to be from, its inception all the way back in 1987.
Kind of like Hell in a Cell nowadays.
Yeah, kind of. Now, there is something that we want to make reference to, and you guys are going to hear it on this week's Monday Night Raw review. We made reference to Paul Heyman pulling a Colonel Robert Parker. Now, we did see in the review, guys and gals, if you wanted to understand what that reference was, you have to listen to this review of War Games. And you know what? Since he loves the story so much, Lance. I'm going to let you tell it.
Well, hang on. Let me find it in the notes here. Is it under a special night in the pack? On the
I
pamphlet here.
I do believe so. Hold on.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Basically, the whole match was Dusty and Dustin, aka Goldust, for those who don't know, and the Nasty Boys versus Terry Funk, Arn Anderson, Brickhouse Brown, and Colonel Robert Parker. Well, basically, I think it was well. Long story the short. Basically, Dusty Rhodes Irish whips Colonel Robert Parker into the corner. Then one of the Nasty Boys,
Brian Knobs.
yeah, goes in and a big splashes Colonel Parker in the corner. And long story short, Colonel Robert Parker crapped himself.
And to make matters worse, he was dressed in all white. So basically, you can't even hide a chocolate bar in that kind of a suit.
Yeah.
And uh,
I think he crapped himself.
I think that's
To
something
steal
that
a movie from to steal a line from the Robert from The Longest Yard. He did crap himself.
I think that was something I could have done without is without knowing that and without seeing that. Now, as I look through the matches on here, and we need to make mention of the Blu Ray exclusives they have on here. We got something from Smoky Mountain Wrestling, which is Rage in the Cage. We have from ECW Ultimate Jeopardy Steel Cage match. And we have two of them, and I will say this: the reason why they were included on here on this Blu-ray is, even though they're not from WCW, the the way the match was structured and the rules to these matches were very very similar to that of War Games.
Yes.
So, but those were really interesting match. The only thing I got a problem with the first Ultimate Jeopardy Steel Cage match. To dismember December 9th,
No
1990.
commentary.
Yeah, no commentary on that. I really don't understand why they put that on there with no Maybe if they would have had some like bonus commentary from maybe, Joey Styles and Dusty Rhodes talking about the match, maybe that would
Yeah.
probably have been suitable for it. But they put it on there with no commentary, and I really don't understand that. But then again, that wouldn't be the only match they put on there with no commentary. I believe they do have one of the early War Games. I think it might have been the one from July 31st,
Yeah.
1987.
War Games 2.
Yeah, there was no commentary on that one as
That's the
well.
one I skipped.
Yeah, commentary makes all the difference, guys and gals.
Yeah.
But anyway, as I look through this, I want to say one of the matches that I would have to say was my favorite thing to see, and no, it's not Colonel Rob Parker crapping himself. Um,
Oh, come on, Billy.
I gotta say, there was a good one with, I'm just looking through here, and you know, I gotta go back to one of the early ones, from July 16th, 1988, that War Games match. Dusty Rhodes, Lex Luger, Nikita Koloff, Dr. Death, Steve Williams, and Paul Ellering taking on Ric Flair, Barry Windham, Arn Anderson, and Tully Blanchard and J.J. Dillon. Arn Anderson was a name that is just really, really frequented throughout the history of the War Games matches. I mean, he's been in more War Games matches than I think anybody in WCW.
From what I understand, that's how he got the name the Enforcer.
So But I got, if I had to pick a favorite match, it would be that one right there that I just told you. Lance, what about you? Out of this set, which one of these matches would you have to say that you find to be, your favorite?
Well, since it was actually the first War Games I ever saw, uh, the Horsemen versus the NWO.
Oh, I remember that one. Um, well, they also got Sting, Davey Boy Smith, Dustin Rhodes, and the Shockmaster versus Sid
Poor bastard.
Vicious, Vader, and Harlem Heat. Now, one thing I didn't know about this
We're coming for you,
is
Hogan. We're coming for you, sucker.
here's one thing I didn't know. Before they went by their names of Booker T and Stevie Ray, they actually went by different names. It was like a Keen and Cole in Harlem Heat, and I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was like, who is that? Wait a minute. That's Booker and Stevie.
And my official score for WCW War Games, WCW's most notorious matches, for me, it's a 4 out of 5. This is a solid set. You get to see some of the great matches, behind the history of War Games in WCW, including the Tower of Doom match, which was an interesting match concept in itself. WCW War Games 2000, the last one, it's still making me
Same
shake my
thing.
head because no, that was an interesting thing in itself. I'm just glad WCW, or WWE rather, decided not to put the matchup where they had David Arquette involved in it, because that would have been just a pisser to
From what I remember, that is on the first Best of Nitro.
oh jeez. But anyway, like I said, this is a solid set. Great matches on here. It's a good look back into WCW's past when it comes to their War Games matches, and a couple of their more notorious matches in its history. And the Blu-ray exclusives are really good, despite the fact that the first Ultimate Jeopardy Steel Cage match from ECW had no commentary on it. It was still a good, solid match. I really can't say anything bad about it. One thing I want to make mention of before I go to Lance and get his score on WCW War Games, WCW's Most Notorious Matches DVD set, is there was a section on here that where Dusty Rhodes was talking about his fantasy war games, and he would put, if I remember correctly, John Cena and Randy Orton as the two captains.
Yeah.
On Cena's team, he would have Shawn Michaels. He would have The Undertaker and The Rock. And on Randy Orton's team, he would have Triple H, The Big Show, and Sting. And he said Sting would be that surprise twist, but that would make fans say, "What is he doing there? What is he gonna do now that he's here in the company?" I gotta say, I gotta agree with Dusty Rhodes on that one. But anyway,
Yeah.
on that note, let's go over to Lance, and Lance, let's get your score on this DVD set.
Honestly, 4.5 out of 5. It's everything I wanted in a, because I've been saying I want a War Games collection DVD. It would have been 5 out of 5 if they would have made it Blu Ray. I mean, it would have been like the Dusty talking part, just one continuous, like we talk all about that.
Mm-hmm.
Then the matches, but other than that, I'll give it 4.5 out of 5.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, what we want to know now from you guys, excuse me, and what we want to know from you guys out there, the viewers and subscribers, your thoughts on WCW War Games, WCW's Most Notorious Matches DVD and Blu-ray set. Be sure to put your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and favorite this video. Lance, what can fans expect to see when they come visit your channel over on youtube.com/LanceMossTV?
Album reviews, NASCAR reviews, restaurant reviews, and whatever else pops in my head.
Fans, also don't forget to like the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/WGS-TV, and don't forget to please subscribe to youtube.com/WrestleGamer and youtube.com/ZepXTV Network. So for the incomparable Lance Moss from Lance Moss TV, I'm the Wrestle Gamer, Double B Belly Boudreaux, saying thank you very much for watching.
This match.
Stoke answers. Stoke answers. Stoke answers. Stoke answers. Spirituals medium. Stoke answers. Stoke answers. I'm Haley. Ring Rose. Stoke answers.
My name's Andrew Weatherall.
Spirituals medium. Stoke answers.